The sun is going down, and you're not tired. Everyone assumes dinosaurs like you simply shut down after sunset, curled up somewhere safe until morning. But you're still awake, feathers catching the last orange light, senses sharpening instead of dimming, ears turning toward every sound the forest makes as the shadows stretch longer. Nobody has ever actually watched a dinosaur after dark. Not one human, not one witness, not one recording. So how does anyone claim to know what happens next? Here's the problem scientists are working against. Bones fossilize. Teeth fossilize. Behavior almost never does. Nobody can dig up a fossil that shows an animal deciding to hunt at midnight instead of noon, or choosing to close its eyes the moment the light faded. So researchers had to get creative, reading body shape, skull anatomy, inner ear structure, and tiny bones inside the eye itself, then comparing all of it against animals alive today, from owls to crocodiles to the birds outside your own window. None of these clues tells the whole story alone. Stacked together, they start to form something close to an answer, built in the same patient way a detective builds a case with no witness willing to talk. The clearest proof came from a fossil so small it almost went unnoticed, tucked into a slab of rock that could easily have been overlooked entirely. In China, paleontologist Xu Xing uncovered a tiny feathered dinosaur preserved in a position nobody expected. Head tucked beneath one forelimb, tail curled neatly around its body, exactly the way birds sleep today, wings folded in against the cold. They named it Meilong, soundly sleeping dragon. It wasn't posed by chance. It looked peaceful, intentional, as if it had simply closed its eyes one evening mid-breath and never opened them again. That's the world you're standing in tonight. The same instinct, the same curled posture, waiting for you if you ever do decide to rest. But right now, you're not resting, and neither is everything else out here. Here's the twist almost nobody expects. Even if some dinosaurs slept like May long, that doesn't mean the whole forest went quiet at the same time. Somewhere near you right now, something else is only just beginning its day. Some species were active by day. Scientists call this diurnal, built around the same rhythm most large animals follow even now, resting through darkness and moving through light. Others came alive specifically after dark, nocturnal, built to slip through the exact hours you're standing in right now, when most eyes around them are closed. And some, scientists believe, simply never fully committed to either, active whenever the moment demanded it, hunting or feeding in short bursts scattered across day and night alike, a pattern known as cathemeral. Fossilized eye structures back this up directly. Some skulls show eyes built for bright daylight, pupils that would shrink to almost nothing under a sky like the one over you right now. Others show pupils built to drink in whatever scraps of light the night had left, wide and rounded, made for exactly this kind of dimness. Compare enough of these skulls side by side, and a pattern starts to emerge that no single fossil could ever show alone. The prehistoric world didn't go to sleep when the sun set. It changed shifts, one species handing the forest to another as the light faded, the same way it's happening around you tonight. The proof lives inside a bone most people have never heard of, the scleral ring, a small ring of bone that supports the eye itself. Animals built for darkness need a wider opening to gather more light, the same logic as opening a camera lens in a dim room. By measuring that ring against the socket around it, researchers can estimate whether an animal was built for daylight or shadow. Then compare the result against owls, hawks, and crocodilians, whose habits are already well understood. It isn't proof. It's something better than a guess, built one measurement at a time from animals that are still alive to study, still hunting the exact same way tonight, in forests all over the world. And one dinosaur passed every single test. Now imagine your Shibuya instead, barely the size of a chicken, easy to overlook, except for what's hidden inside its skull. Researcher Jonas Schwanier and his team found eyes built to gather extraordinary amounts of light, paired with an inner ear structure remarkably close to a modern barn owl's, an animal famous for hunting in near total darkness, guided by sound alone, pinpointing prey it can't even see. Long legs for closing distance fast, short, powerful forelimbs, likely built for tearing into logs and burrows after whatever was hiding inside. Nobody has ever watched Shibuya hunt, but every single clue points the same direction. This was, very possibly, the owl of the dinosaur world. Back in your own patch of forest, something moves through the undergrowth nearby, and you can't tell yet whether it's hunting or just as nervous as you are. The evidence gets thinner from here, and scientists are careful to say so, which is really just the same problem from the very start of tonight showing up again. No one watched any of this happen, so every answer has to be rebuilt from anatomy alone, one bone at a time, the same way the whole night has been reconstructed so far. Small theropods like Velociraptor, Microraptor, and Giravinator show anatomical hints, eye and skull features that could suggest low-light activity, but this remains a well-supported hypothesis, not a settled fact, and researchers are quick to say some species fit the pattern far better than others. Darkness offered real advantages either way: cooler air for hunters built to overheat easily, natural cover for closing in unseen, and far less competition than the crowded daylight hours brought, when every predator was chasing the same shrinking pool of prey. Then there's the other extreme entirely. Now imagine being 70 tons instead of 70 pounds. Giant herbivores needed such enormous quantities of food that daylight alone likely wasn't enough. Many researchers believe they grazed around the clock, active by both day and night, the same way modern elephants spend nearly their entire lives eating just to sustain their own size. While the smallest hunters stalked through shadow, the largest animals on Earth may have simply kept eating beneath the stars, indifferent to whether the sun was up or down, chewing through the darkness at a pace nothing could interrupt. An entire different rhythm of survival, running alongside yours in the very same dark. The forest around you isn't silent. It never really is. Insects hum through the warm air, frogs call from somewhere near water, small early mammals rustle through the undergrowth, desperate not to become someone's meal before morning. Somewhere in the distance, something enormous pushes slowly through vegetation, branches cracking under its weight, unhurried, unbothered by the dark. Then, without warning, everything stops. No insects, no frogs, no rustling. That kind of silence means something is moving that shouldn't be there, and you have no way of knowing if it's Shibuya-sized or something built like Tyrannosaurus rex. Even T-Rex's night habits remain genuinely unresolved. Excellent vision, an extraordinary sense of smell, but no fossil evidence strong enough to confirm it hunted after dark on purpose. It's one of paleontology's most stubborn, unanswered questions. And standing in the sudden quiet, you understand exactly why that uncertainty matters. Not knowing what's out there is its own kind of danger, maybe the oldest kind there is. So, what actually happened when the sun went down 70 million years ago? Nobody was there to watch, but scleral rings, inner ears, sleeping postures frozen in stone, and the feeding habits of giants left behind enough fragments to sketch an answer none of us will ever fully confirm, one careful measurement at a time, borrowed from bones that were never meant to tell this particular story. The dinosaur night was never just about sleep. It is a reminder that an entire half of this ancient world went almost completely unrecorded. Not empty, not quiet, just unwitnessed, running on its own rhythm long after the last daylight predator gave up and rested, and long before anything alive today ever thought to wonder about it. You never do find out what was moving through the dark tonight. Maybe it passed you by. Maybe it was never hunting at all. The fossils that might answer that question haven't been found yet, And somewhere out there, they're still waiting in the rock, exactly the way May Long was, one undiscovered sleeping fossil at a time. Eventually, the sky begins to lighten at the edges. The same feathers that caught the last orange light hours ago now catch the first gray traces of morning, and only now, with the danger of the dark behind you, do your senses finally begin to soften. Whatever moved through the silence never revealed itself. It never will. But you made it to sunrise, which, one careful night at a time, over 160 million years, may be the only answer that ever really mattered. If you could ask one dinosaur what it actually did after dark, which species would you choose? And what do you think you'd find out? Tell us below.